This is the second tobacco marketing season under the new normal, imposed on us by the COVID-19 pandemic. We are coming to you from the tobacco sales floors right here in Harare, where we are going to be witnessing the opening of the 2020-2021 tobacco marketing season. And this episode has been made possible by the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board right here in Zimbabwe. We are going to be witnessing this event, and this event has been graced by a number of stakeholders in the tobacco industry and even the government, ranging from our minister in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Resettlement, Dr. Anxious Masuka, and we also have our permanent secretary, Dr. John Basera, and we also have the board chairman of the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, Mr. Patrick Devnish. Also, we have Dr. Andrew Matibiri, the outgoing Chief Executive Officer of the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, and the Public Relations Officer, Telesani Moyo. Now, at this point in time, we are going to attend to the proceedings of the starting of this event. Don't go anywhere.
Tobacco plays an important role in the economy of the country and contributes to government's efforts to develop an empowered and prosperous upper middle income society by 2030. As we all know, tobacco is the biggest contributor to agricultural GDP, accounting for 25% of that GDP and accounting for 50% of agricultural exports. Ladies and gentlemen, last year, the President, His Excellency Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, launched the Agriculture and Food Systems Transformation Strategy, which seeks to create an $8.2 billion industry by 2025 from the current $5.2 billion industry that we are at. We are certainly on course to surpassing this target. The Agriculture and Food Systems Transformation Strategy, 6 outcomes. And the first one is food security. We are certainly on course to achieving food security for the nation, for we seem to have found the ingredients for a successful formula to ensure and assure our nation of food security from now going forward. Secondly, we seek to have 80% import substitution in the next 2-3 years by ensuring that we produce adequate maize, wheat and soybean, and that we do not import other agricultural trinkets. The third is that we seek increased and diversified exports, and tobacco plays an important role in this regard. The fourth is that we want to enhance and deepen value addition and beneficiation, and again, the tobacco industry will be called upon to do more in this regard. We also seek, ladies and gentlemen, to create an additional 1 million jobs from formal employment in the agricultural sector by 2025, and ultimately, we seek to improve rural livelihoods as we journey towards 2030. The tobacco industry can indeed identify with many of the outcomes that we have highlighted, from food security to increased exports, broadened value addition and beneficiation, to increased employment and improved livelihoods. The industry should therefore develop matrices to track these parameters during the period to 2025. I challenge the tobacco industry to develop and urgently coalesce for this purpose under the auspices of the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, government is of the considered, strong and principled view that the tobacco industry's potential is immense. It is in this regard that government, together with stakeholders in the industry, is at a very advanced stage of developing a 3-pronged strategy. And the strategy pillars are, first, to increase annual production to 300 million kilograms by 2025. And this must come from vertical growth. This must also come from horizontal growth, and must come from loss reduction. Regarding vertical growth, we envisage increased yields, generating an additional 50 million kilograms, largely from smallholder farmers by 2025. From horizontal growth, which we expect to be very minimal, we expect another 30 million kilograms annually by 2025. The second pillar focuses on increasing the local financing of tobacco production to 70% by 2025 from the current 30%. So the foreign currency component in your inputs build-up must be reduced to 30% by 2025, and we have very robust and exciting plans together with the RBZ and Treasury to ensure that this happens. The third pillar is to accelerate value addition and beneficiation from the current 1% to as much as 30% during the plan period. These bold, radical, transformative measures are required to create a $5 billion industry by 2025. This is ambitious and yet achievable. Distinguished guests, this is the second selling season under the new normal imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. I am pleased to note that the industry has adhered to all Ministry of Health and Child Care protocols. Government has granted the tobacco sector priority in vaccination, and the process has gone on well. Ladies and gentlemen, there should be a better return for farmers this season, with the foreign currency retention equated to other exporters at 60%, up from the 50% last year. And these funds are treated as free funds. With a more stable macroeconomic environment and no fixed exchange rate, growers should clearly expect a better return for their effort. Government now urges the trade to do its part by paying fair prices for this tobacco. All stakeholders should act to eliminate the perceived farmer deprivation and enhancing transparency, fairness, and accountability in the tobacco value chain. For the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, this should include analyzing, recommending, and improving and facilitating equitable and transparent sharing of expenses and profits throughout the tobacco value chain. Reports of collusion by merchants and maneuvers by middlemen to re-handle tobacco bought cheaply from farmers must indeed be a thing of the past. The TIMB Compliance Unit must work with other security agencies to eliminate these malpractices. Discipline must, of necessity, return to this important industry.
There you heard it, viewers. That was the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Resettlement, Dr. Anxious Masuka. Now we are going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment of your program. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. We are in the second segment of your program, Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. We are coming to you from the tobacco sales floors where we are witnessing the opening of the 2020-2021 tobacco marketing season. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with me, the producer Wadzanai Manyore, on 0772-807-506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. You can make a follow-up on this episode and more, and leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We are also now available on Twitter, and our Twitter handle there is at Agribusiness110. Now, at this point in time, I am joined by Mr. Patrick Devnish, the board chairman of the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board. Stay tuned.
We gathered here to witness the start of the 2021 marketing season. Once again, and just like last year, sales will run under strict COVID-19 guidelines developed by the industry with guidance from the Ministry of Ag and the Ministry of Health. I urge everyone to fully abide by these guidelines to ensure public health safety for all and a successful 2021 tobacco marketing season. The crop before us was grown in generally very wet conditions, which prompted nutrient leaching and incidences of some bacterial diseases, particularly angular leaf spot. But generally, it's a fairly good quality tobacco crop that will be marketed. Hectares this year went up by just under 7%, from 117,000 to 125,000 this year. For this marketing season, the number of registered growers is 145,625 compared to 147,931 last year, with just under 2,000 growers having registered for the first time this year. The board has licensed 3 auction floors for the 2021 season. These are Tobacco Sales Floor, Boca Tobacco Floors, and Premier Tobacco Auction Floor. As usual, the board inspected the level of preparedness at the licensed auction floors, and the 3 floors were found to be ready for business, including compliance to COVID-19 guidelines. The board licensed 28 and 39 A-class and contract buyers respectively, figures almost similar to last year. The board has approved decentralized contract sales to be conducted at 5 designated centers, and these are Karoi, Mvurwi, Bindura, Marandera, and Rusapi. Ladies and gentlemen, the industry, together with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, have jointly put in place improved payment measures to ensure that tobacco growers get full value for their crop and are simultaneously paid within the shortest possible time. Growers will be paid 60% of their sales proceeds in foreign currency after deductions of approved foreign currency denominated loans, and the 40% portion shall be converted at the prevailing auction exchange rate on the day of sale and paid in local currency. The 60% foreign currency entitlement to tobacco growers will be treated as free funds. Ladies and gentlemen, it is no secret that tobacco production and marketing come with various challenges. I'm very pleased that the industry managed to uphold the integrity of tobacco production and marketing system by coming up with new regulations. These regulations were developed by the Marketing Board and the trade, so everyone participated in their development, and these will be enforced by the Marketing Board during the 2021 production and marketing season. These new regulations also prescribe the minimum level of funding for growers, and TIMB has been auditing all contractors to ensure adherence to minimum support packages. One of the other challenges facing the industry is that some growers continue to cut indigenous trees for firewood for curing tobacco. This is attracting a lot of negative attention from our customers around the world, with some manufacturers even threatening to boycott our crop unless we manage this problem. I encourage all growers to establish woodlots, preferably by planting fast-growing tree species. The board is aware that growers have viability challenges due to high costs of production and acknowledge that a lot still needs to be done to reduce the cost of production. I urge all growers to abide by the marketing regulations that include submitting production estimates and registration on time, to use TIMB registered transporters, and also to refrain from dealing with unscrupulous individuals at the floors. Tobacco growers will be required to strictly adhere to the stipulated booking requirements for selling tobacco at auction and contract sales.
Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. This is Parastatals Watch, where we have the 11 parastatals of our ministry come on board and talk of their role and their activities as we pave way towards achieving Vision 2030 as a country. At this point in time, I have taken the liberty of inviting Mr. Patrick Devnish. He is the board chairman of the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board right here in Zimbabwe. Mr. Devnish, it's a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes, this day marks the opening of the 2020-2021 tobacco marketing season. As we get into our discussion, we have the tobacco industry's contribution to our national GDP, your export earnings, and the entire economy. Maybe your sentiments and some information on that.
Well, the tobacco crop, as you know, recovered from a low of 50 million kilos back in 2012, I think, to 260 million kilos 2 years ago. The crop this year is going to be somewhere between 185 and 200 million kilos. It looks like a nice crop. We've had an excellent rainy season. So I think tobacco will perform well this year.
Yes, thank you so much, Say. Moving right along, as the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, you are the regulatory authority. You come with the framework, and of course the private sector comes in with the capital injections, with the money, so that our projects are viable and they make sense for our economy. How, as the TIMB, are you creating an enabling environment for the tobacco merchants, the contractors, those who want to come on board?
Yeah. Well, the Tobacco Marketing Board is the regulator. We are extremely concerned with viability and also concerned with sustainability. Viability of our farmers is the second most important thing. Regulation is absolutely critical or the industry will collapse. As far as viability is concerned, the contracting system has been very good for the industry. It's enabled the smallholder sector to grow dramatically from almost nothing in the late 90s to 65% of the crop now. So I think the enabling environment is there. Sadly, the banks' balance sheets were greatly diminished when the one-to-one ruling came out. So the banks don't have the cash to fund all growers directly.
Yes, very true.
But all the banks see the opportunity of funding agriculture. Prior to land reform, 70% of bank lending was to agriculture. We need to get back there.
Yes, thank you so much, Say. As we round off this segment, I would like us to talk about the pertinent issues surrounding payment. Our farmers are classified as the private sector. They are the ones responsible for production, and as such they need proper, for their profitable ventures, they need proper systems put in place for them to make profit out of whatever they will be doing. This year, I understand there's been changes, good changes, positive changes. Yes. What are those that you put in place?
Well, we have not put it in place. This is the ambit of the Reserve Bank.
Okay.
But the Reserve Bank have changed the system now, where the farmer gets 60% of his payment in foreign currency, which he is free to do as he pleases with. Yes. He can import goods, he can draw cash to buy for stuff, etc., etc. 40% he'll get in Zimbabwe dollars, which is fine because everyone has local costs.
Yes.
So I think the system is looking good. The value chain of tobacco is a big one. You've got from the seed through to the fertilizer, to chemicals, to labor, and everyone needs to have a slice of that pie. So I think the grower is getting a good share. I know they'd like more, but we'd all like more.
There you heard it, viewers. That was Mr. Patrick Devnish, the board chairman of the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, telling us of the good and the positive changes that have taken place in terms of the payments of farmers. Now, viewers, we are going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in that third and final segment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. We are in the third and final segment of Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, where we are coming to you from the tobacco sales floors right here in Harare. We are witnessing the opening of the 2020-2021 tobacco marketing season. And at this point in time, I am joined by the Public Relations Officer in the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, Wadzanai Manyore. Wadzanai, thank you for joining us today.
And thank you for inviting me, Wadzi.
Yes. As we get into our discussion, this is the opening of the 2020-2021 tobacco marketing season. This is our second season with the new regulations that has been imposed upon us by the COVID-19 pandemic. As the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, what measures have you put in place to ensure the smooth flow of activities and the smooth marketing of the tobacco this season?
This season, we've got COVID-19 regulations that have been put in place, which have been agreed upon by the tobacco industry. These are to ensure that the season is smooth and that there are no hiccups or anything. For instance, we are adhering to WHO standards to say that everyone needs to wear a mask, everyone is going to be sanitized, and we are not going to allow more than one representative for each grower.
Representation in the flows.
Correct.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chelesani. It speaks volumes of the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board, where they're ensuring the safety of everyone involved, the buyers, the classifiers, the farmers. Moving right along, Chelesani, I understand that the Public Relations Department is responsible for good relations between the industry and the farmers or our private sector. Your sentiments on that, your word of advice or your recommendations to our farming community? Some are even scared of approaching TIMB. But what can you say when we talk of good relations, good communication between the public and the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board?
I just wish to encourage the farmers to feel free to come through to us if they've got any queries or if they've got any complaints. We are there. We can lend them an ear at any time when they want us to speak to them. So they can get in touch with us either physically at our regional offices. We've got officers at our regional offices, and they can also get in touch with us on our numbers. We are more than available to listen to them.
Your final remarks pertaining to this season that has just started, what would you like to say to our farming community? I understand that there are high hopes. As farmers, we go into the field and we toil, we labor so that we make profit out of those ventures.
Yeah, indeed. Farmers are excited. It's been a good year. We've received good rains. So obviously the crop was also good. So they are going to get a good price for their crop. So yeah, the season is looking really good.
Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. At this point in time, I am joined by Amai Chibanda, a female farmer, a female tobacco farmer in Mount Darwin. Amai Chibanda, tinokutendeni kuya pachirongwa.
Aiwa, tinotenda Jese.
Tichipinda msizeni matapinda omo. Pane miromo inombobuda yekuti mukatanga kutoenda kumaketi zvezvizvi nezuva rekutanga idzungu hazvinyatsozobuda. Mashoko enyu amukataura kuvarimi maererano nemwaka uno watiri mauri?
Aiwa, ndoda kutaurira vamwe vari kumba maviewers anoona paZTV kuti gore rino fodya iri kutengwa. Kana prime ichipinda $2, prime ichipinda $4, hakuna kumwe kutengwa kwakadarika ipapa. Saka tirongotsigira hurumende nekutenda president vedu vaMnangagwa nezvavatiitira gore rino. 60-40 yoyo it's okay nokuti hurumende nechekuita nazvo. Saka we are not complaining that much. Aiwa, tiri kutenda.
Chipeta chirongwa semurimi wechidzimai, mashoko enyu ekurudziro kumwe kuna naamai vari kunzoko. Pane vamwe vanoti vachitaura even kumachechi vanhu vanokurudzirwa kuti tsika yekungoti
kutenda.
Munoionawo sei kuti pamabasa ekuzviitira kuzviriritira semunhu wechikadzi pane kumirira kuchengetwa nema-male counterparts edu? Mashoko enyu ekurudziro.
Aiwa, madzimai tikuda kutosimudzirana. Madzimai mese muri uko, itai mavhinhamba. Munhu wemukadzi ita vhinhamba yako, kwete kutengeserwa fodya nababa. Ndo mari dzinozotadza kusvika kumba, mari dzaakudyiwa kuno kwaHarare nama-Yellowbone. Fodya iri kubhadharai. Momirawo semadzimai.
There you heard it, viewers. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of this weekly edition on Agribusiness. From me, your host, Wadzanai Manyore. I am also on Instagram. It's a W Manyore. And Mukoma Daniel Muranganwa. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.